Hey, here's something important to remember. My brother has a very...
How's it going, everybody? Unchained Seth here. Anyways, so, yeah, we're going right back into talking about some complete losers that, honestly, probably just have no idea what in the world they're even talking about. And this is a very interesting channel because this is an anti-woke channel that's kind of up and coming, if you will. It's a channel that goes by the name of Ranting for Vengeance, in which the channel banner says, "Death to all posers." Which is just, if that alone doesn't already scream to you extremely, like, you know, cringily edgy, then I really don't even know what does. But of course his channel description, at least as of recording this right now, has apparently ended up changing to actually include what he's decided to do. After all, I've already kind of technically covered this guy on a stream before. I'll probably leave it linked in the description below if you want to see my live coverage of at least Rince's video covering this loser. And when I decided to take a look at his channel, well, it didn't include this beginning part right here, but let me just read this out for you. On this channel you receive the truth about comic books, no censored lying bullshit, and no going with what every other shill is saying about comics. This ain't satire or a joke. You will also receive real metal of the highest caliber, no posers, no glorifying genres that suck, death, thrash, or new metal. Who the fuck gives a shit what kind of metal you listen to? Listen, I'm gonna piss this guy off. I'm a fan of Dragon Force. There we go. I'm pretty sure that probably got his panties in a twist right there. No bullshit. Just pure heavy metal with no regard for what posers think. If you agree with any of the stuff that I say, please subscribe to help the metal fight. If you disagree, go complain to your boyfriend. Oh, Jesus Christ. This guy's already starting to sound like an Andy Pants 2.0. But yeah, it's kind of funny that he mentions in his channel description that he talks about metal, when in reality, well, won't you believe it, only like his first two videos are about metal, and pretty much every other video is about comics. Probably because bitching about comics ended up getting him a lot more views, as evidenced by the first video that he made bitching about comics ended up getting 10,000 views compared to the 652 views and 1.6 thousand views on his videos bitching about different metal genres. But of course, we're mainly talking about this particular video right here from him called Absolute Batman, the worst Batman ever. And judging by the like to dislike ratio, I think you could take a wild guess as to how many people were actually on his side and how many people are just making fun of him. Now, of course, apparently he has his own response video to a lot of the people, you know, pointing out everything that's wrong with this particular video, which I might take a look at in the near future if you guys are interested. Actually, I'll probably take a look at it anyways, because honestly, I love laughing at losers like this. So, of course, you know, stay tuned for that. But without any further ado, let us sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's just dive right in.
So DC has decided to reinvent Batman in the brand new series, Absolute Batman. Many people are saying it's amazing, it's a breath of fresh air.
This shit is gas, man.
Wrong.
This shit is gas. Like, is this what DC meant when they said DC all in?
I'm kind of...
I'm here to tell you if that's the truth. Spoiler alert, it's not at all.
Oh boy. Well, I really wonder how he's going to try and back any of this up. Listen, I'm not exactly particularly like a comic books guy or anything like that. Hell, I'm not even the biggest fan of DC if I'm going to be completely honest, especially considering that a lot of their movie writing kind of sucks ass. But from what I've at least heard, I've done a little bit of research and I've gotten a little bit of information from other people who have actually read the comic, probably unlike this guy. But, like, the new Absolute Batman comic is actually not that bad from what I've at least heard. There's a bit of backstory that I'll bring up here whenever it's important later, but, like, it's honestly just, like, it's honestly a pretty interesting take on Batman, and you'll see what I mean because he does, in fact, bring up a couple of examples while bitching about it for whatever reason, so I guess just keep a lot of that in mind that, honestly, even I, as someone that's not even a big fan of DC Comics, actually kind of finds the entire concept of Absolute Batman to be pretty interesting.
Quick disclaimer before I start. This isn't some rage bait video. I'm not lying to get your attention. I'm telling you my opinion, which I believe is the truth.
Well, I guess with that being said, I guess he's now backed himself into a corner in case he says anything that's extremely unhinged or something that's extremely questionable at any point in the future. Spoiler alert, this will definitely come back to bite him in the ass within this very video.
That this, A, is not Batman, and B, is an absolute dumpster fire. This comic is a disgrace to creators like Frank Miller, Jeff Loeb. This isn't the Batman they envisioned. I know it's a different take on the character, but what this does ruins the character entirely.
Oh, please, enlighten me as to how apparently a completely different take on Batman that, at least from what I've read, literally takes place in a different entire universe that probably isn't even canon in the first place, ruins Batman as a character entirely across all universes. Please fucking enlighten me as to how that makes sense.
So this comic strives to reinvent the world of Batman in every way possible. What if a bodybuilder, engineer dude became Batman? Yeah, that's not badass. I'm sorry.
And how is that not badass? Like, no, seriously, how is that not badass?
I don't find that badass. I don't find that different, unique, entertaining. It's just cringy. There's people all across the internet saying that this comic is badass. It's awesome. This comic literally reads like those edgy 90s comics that every single person makes fun of. It's like a 12-year-old's fan fiction of Batman.
Okay, and? Like, I guess this is where some of the context that I mentioned earlier kind of comes up here. But from what I have read, at least, about Absolute Batman, it's like taking place in like a different universe that's created by like one of the main antagonists of the DC universe called Darkseid, who, well, quite literally, like, hates everything. So, yeah, I think it's going to kind of, you know, be a little bit dark, gritty, and, dare I say, edgy, because it's literally an entire universe rewritten by a fucking villain. What did you expect?
Man, this comic has everything. It has horrible, edgy dialogue. It has some pretty gay character design.
I'm sorry, but how in the hell is this gay character design? I'm sorry for pausing so much on this video, but, like, there's just so much back-to-back bullshit that is just genuinely insane. But, like, how is this gay character design? Please enlighten me as to how this makes any goddamn sense right here. What, is it gay to have, like, slightly long and black hair? Is it gay to have a jawline now?
And if you can believe it, they managed to race swap another redhead from comic books. They managed to jump in there and turn them black.
Jesus Christ, why did you say black like that? What, do you not... Are you... I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but, the way that you said black makes me, conclude that you might have a certain disdain towards a certain race of people.
So after reading Absolute Batman, I think we can all agree that Scott Snyder can't really write comic books, correct? And this is a fact, proven with every single page of this garbage. There's an abundance of absolutely insane creative decisions happening here. Who, in their right mind, greenlit Alfred's look? What is the haircut? What is the beard? Why is he an MI6 mercenary with like grenade launchers and sniper rifles? This is straight up cringe, I'm sorry.
Okay, so apparently Alfred being even more badass than before apparently makes it cringe. Like, I'm sorry, but I really have no idea what you're even complaining about anymore. Again, you're talking about like cringe and edgy stuff when this is literally coming from a place of a complete lack of self-awareness, my guy. Again, your name is Ranting for Vengeance. I don't think you have any room to talk about edginess, my guy.
So I thought Alfred was bad enough, but then we get to Bruce Wayne, the main man himself. What do you think when I say Bruce Wayne? You think the suave, charming rich guy, which in Batman Year One was originally based off of Gregory Peck. But now in this comic, they're going for something a little different. Let's just take a little glance at what they thought Bruce Wayne was. So this is the page where Bruce Wayne is first introduced. We see him hitting a bag. He looks exactly like Bruce Wayne has for the last like 100 years, saying some badass Batman stuff. No fear, no pain. And then out of nowhere, this big hulking transgender comes up behind him and is like, hey bro, I think it's my turn now. And just starts blowing the punching bag across the room with his big fat arms.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I just simply have to try and explain. I just simply have to ask, what about this design screams big hulking transgender? What the fuck are you even talking about? Like, I'm all for, like, headcanons of, like, characters in different ways, but, like, how, in what way, especially with the lack of context that you provided so far, does this design scream trans? Like, is it just because it's a big buff guy and that's how you imagine all trans women to look? Like, I really don't know what it is that you're even fucking talking about here. It just seems like you came to this conclusion just so we could scream out a buzzword to make the people that were already coming to this video to hate on Absolute Batman, just to hate it even more because you decided to, I guess, headcanon the new Bruce Wayne as fucking trans.
Then we actually start getting into the backstory of Bruce Wayne. His parents weren't killed coming down that alleyway and they got mugged. No, instead he's at a zoo with his dad or something and his dad gets shot, and the idea for Batman comes from the fact that he's in a zoo and he goes into some bat like exhibit. I really don't know what's going on here. I don't know what was being smoked in the writer's room, but clearly this comic is all over the place. It's a mess.
Listen, just because apparently even with glasses you don't know how to read, it doesn't mean that the comic is bad. Like, at this point, I'm beginning to wonder what it is that he's even complaining about. What? A different backstory that instead of his parents getting shot in a fucking back alley, they get shot in a zoo, and he gets the idea for Batman because he likes bats? Like, okay, and
apparently Bruce Wayne isn't some rich guy anymore. Instead, he's a working class citizen, working all these different construction jobs, learning engineering. So he's this super genius, and his mother is still alive. So there's no motive to fight that you're an orphan, your two parents were shot in front of you, and you'll never stop on your crusade against crime. And his dad gets shot.
Okay, wait, hang on. There's a few things that I need to dissect here. First of all, how is him, like, now just being like a working class guy and not just born into money, apparently not badass? In fact, in my personal opinion, I think that's actually even more badass than just the regular Batman just being born into money and being able to purchase everything. Like, a new Batman that's actually able to kind of like build himself up from the ground up, like pretty much any other superhero that I can think of, other than like maybe like a few exceptions, is honestly such an interesting idea to me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was an idea that was already kind of like, you know, like dabbled with like maybe other iterations of Batman, but honestly, at least from what I've seen and from some of the panels that I have at least read, it's actually pretty fucking cool, okay? Despite the fact that, of course, you know, it is taking place in a bit of an edgier universe, it is an interesting fucking idea, if I'm gonna be completely honest. But also, on top of that, too, what do you mean there's no motivation? His fucking dad died. Just because he's not an orphan doesn't mean that he wouldn't have a fucking reason to fight crime because only one of his parents died. One of his parents still fucking died due to some random madman shooting his fucking dad in a zoo exhibit. Like, no shit he's going to want to fight crime because one of his parents are gone, you fuck.
Instead, your dad got shot in a zoo somewhere, your mother is still alive, and now you're just working construction jobs. Is this Batman? I don't really know what's going on here. I was shocked reading it.
I'm beginning to realize that a lot of his criticisms just boil down to, I don't understand what's going on here, therefore it's bad. Okay, and that doesn't exactly make it bad if you yourself, out of everybody else that's read it, doesn't understand what is happening here.
He's walking around like an emo kid, brooding. I don't know what's going on with Batman these last few years, but people need to learn that his hair doesn't come down over his eyes, he doesn't listen to Nirvana, and he's not gay.
Again, I really wonder how in the hell you came to the conclusion that the design for this Batman is apparently gay, but whatever, I guess. But also on top of that too, hasn't Batman always been dark and brooding? Because, like the motherfucker, I think in like the earlier comics, literally jumps down from a table and says, I am vengeance. You would be praising shit like that, but apparently just because it's a different universe with a different design, that means it's bad?
So then in the story, we learn about this gang of scumbags who have taken over Gotham. Very similar to The Dark Knight Returns, except in The Dark Knight Returns, you had the mutant gang. These violent creeps were going around stealing, killing. It was really dark for its time. So you think in this brand new comic, this edgy comic, they'll be able to go darker. No. The people who have taken over the city, the big bad villains, are called the Party Animals. I don't get it. I really don't. They're wearing like clown masks or party masks. I don't know.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much is, you know, some subtle foreshadowing to the fact that that's probably the Joker's group. But also, if you're going to be complaining about the fact that this is like a sillier name for like a group, for like a gang of criminals or something along those lines, shall I remind you of all the goofy-ass villains that Batman has? There's, well, obviously the Joker, who's literally a fucking killer clown. There's Killer Croc, literally just the fucking human crocodile. What else do I have to say here? The Penguin. I don't think I have to explain anymore. In fact, I think out of all the villains I could think of off the top of my head from the DC universe, I think the only serious one for Batman that I can even think of is maybe Two-Face, and that's really about it.
It's all very messy and stupid. When Frank Miller designed those mutants, they really did look threatening. These party animals? There's no threat here. Where is the villain in the story? I know they introduced Joker at the end of it, but where the hell is the threat?
Probably because it's a gang of criminals that's shooting up everybody. I don't fucking know. Is that somehow not a threat?
And now, finally, we get onto the biggest offense of the entire story. Commissioner Jim Gordon is giving a speech to Gotham, and he actually looks like Jim Gordon. He's white. He has the grey hair. He has the mustache. Then the terribly ridden villains enter, the party animals, and they just start shooting up the place. Then that's when we get the glimpse of the best part of the entire story. Barbara Gordon. She peeks her head in just one panel, I'm pretty sure. And she's black. She is black.
Wow, absolutely fantastic, my guy. I love how apparently the one redeeming quality that you can think of for Commissioner Gordon is that he is white, but then the moment that a black person appears, for one panel, mind you, one panel, my guy, that immediately sets you off, and that is apparently the biggest offense of this comic. Okay, yeah, I think this guy is actually just straight up racist.
Are we serious? We're just making them black for no reason and expecting people not to notice or expecting people to tolerate it. But I won't, and I hope everybody else won't either.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but not everybody is as racist as you.
Can we just start changing black characters to white? Can Black Panther be white in the next comic, please?
Out of all the fucking heroes that you could have possibly chosen for, like, a race swap, you decided to choose Black Panther. You know, the one character whose entire character arc is literally being the king of, like, the most secret, advanced fucking, like, you know, African civilization. Like, you know, the one character who has black literally in his superhero name. You know that Black Panther? Yeah, I think that's one of the worst fucking characters that you could possibly try to race swap to white, you dingus.
Scott Snyder is an ultra retard. Just look at the last fight scene. I won't bring you through the entire thing, because I'm kind of getting sick of this garbage, even just looking at it. But basically, Batman drops down to stop these party animals. What's the difference to normal Batman? He's basically the Hulk now. His cape has turned into Spawn's cape for some reason, because he can, like, push it out and drive people through windows and walls with it.
Oh my god, apparently there's some different shit with this Batman that sets him apart from the other universe's Batman. Oh no, a universe that's completely different and functions differently is a universe that functions differently. Holy shit, this is the biggest fucking crime against humanity. Someone, get the net.
I don't know what his cape is doing in the comic, and it's really odd. Then he rips off his ears. You know those things on his head? Yeah, he just rips them off and starts cutting guys, throwing them around. Then finally, when I was ready to puke my guts out because it was such a disgrace to the character of Batman, we get hit with this page. This bad guy comes up to him, edgy, cursing at Batman. Get the F out of her way. Batman then takes off his big loaf of bread logo, the big rectangle that doesn't even look like the Bat logo, and uses it as a hammer or something, or an axe, and slices the dude's arm off, with no regard for whether or not he lives or dies.
You know what, probably the only thing that I could agree with him on here is probably the fact that the bat insignia on his chest is just for some reason changed for whatever reason. Hang on, let me look up the original Batman logo. Like, let's take a look at this. Like, that's just like the classic Batman logo right there. That already has, like, so much potential to, like, be, like, some sort of, like, a weapon or something like that. That already has so much axe head potential. I don't know why they decided to actually change it into a brick. That's literally the only thing that I can agree with you on here, okay? I found one thing that we can agree on, and that is the fact that they decided to change the Batman insignia into a brick in order to, I guess, really backwards engineer it back into an axe for whatever reason, when they didn't really need to do that. Like,
and then just goes, yeah, there's a hospital down the road. You should start running. That's some cringy tough guy dialogue that a 12-year-old would write.
Again, your name is Ranting for Vengeance. This is coming from a lack of fucking self-awareness. But again, I feel like I should mention, once again, different universe created by an entire villain that hates humanity. What did you expect? Alright, well, I guess that's basically kind of where that ends. He just kind of reiterates the same point of, ew, cringe bad. That's kind of where it ends. From there, he just kind of does like his outro. But to put it very simply, I'm beginning to wonder if this man should have just stuck with complaining about metal genres, because he honestly doesn't seem to really understand even anything about, like, the newer iterations of Batman. Hell, even with the older iterations of Batman, from what I've looked up, apparently one of the older iterations, one of the first iterations, actually did kill a couple people. So, like, you know, him, like, I guess, like, implying that, like, the original Batman never really grievously injured or killed anybody is just straight up wrong already. And, of course, him not understanding that there have been goofy villains for DC going as far back as probably the first Batman comic is also just a good show of just how little he actually knows about anything in regards to even, at the very least, DC. And again, I'm not even a comic books guy. This is just me doing like 5 minutes of Google research. But yeah, anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. That's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Blue Sky. Go ahead and join the server if you feel like doing so. And special thanks to my channel members, MadFox94 and Nemesis. You guys are absolutely fantastic. And if you made it to this point in the video, go ahead and comment, I don't know, Batman's axe. Comment Batman's axe if you made it to this point in the video. But yeah, anyways, guys, this has been Sandy, and have yourselves a nice day.